Hello students, today in our paper Labor Laws with paper code BBA07 we are going to cover the topic of third unit, that is the Workmen Compensation Act 1923, and here we will discuss about the amount of compensation. I am Ragini Dixit, working as Assistant Professor, School of Management, BBD University. Now, the contents of this presentation are introduction, then employer's liability for compensation, calculation of compensation, rules regarding distribution of compensation, and duties of employer and employee. Now, introduction, we will do some introduction about the Workmen Compensation Act, to whom it is applicable, then employer's liability for compensation, when employer is liable to pay compensation to the employees, then how this compensation is calculated, what are the rules regarding the distribution of compensation, and what are the duties of employer and employee under this distribution of compensation. Now, introduction. The Workmen Compensation Act 1923 is one of the important social security legislation. It aims at providing financial protection to workmen and their dependents in case of accidental injury by means of payment of compensation by the employers. So, the Workmen Compensation Act 1923 aims at providing social security to the employees. It provides financial protection to workmen as well as their dependents in case of accidental injury. And how this financial protection is provided? By means of payment of compensation. And who pays this compensation? The employer. Now, this act applies to working mines, factories, plantations, constructions, establishments, and moreover other establishments which are specified in Part 2 of the Workmen Compensation Act. It applies to persons who are working abroad or outside India, and these are described as per Schedule 2 of the Act. It applies to a person recruited as the mechanic, helper, driver, etc. in connection with a motor vehicle. It also applies to a captain or members of the crew of an aircraft. Moreover, the Act does not cover the members of armed forces who are already under Employee State Insurance Act. Now, employer's liabilities for compensation. When employer is liable to pay compensation, employer is liable to compensate any employee who has suffered an accident arising out of and in the course of his employment, and this accident has resulted into death, permanent total disablement, permanent partial disablement, temporary disablement, whether total or partial, or who has contracted an occupational disease. So, employee is liable to pay compensation in case of death of the employee, permanent total disablement, permanent partial disablement, as well as temporary disablement, which can be total or partial. We have discussed these types of disablement in our previous presentations. Now, factors for calculating amount of compensation. How this amount of compensation is calculated. Now, first factor is the nature of injury. The nature of injury caused by accident. Now, the second factor is monthly wages of the workmen concerned. That is, but there is a proper method of calculating the monthly wages. First is nature of injury, what type of injury it is whether permanent or temporary, it is partial or total. That is nature of injury. Then second is monthly wages, and third is your relevant factor. So there are three factors which are required for calculating amount of compensation. First is nature of injury, second is monthly wages, and third is relevant factor. Now, what is this relevant factor? Relevant factor is specified in Schedule 4 for working out the lump sum amount of compensation. Relevant factor in relation to an employee means the factor specified in the second column of Schedule 4 against the entry in the first column of the Schedule 4 only, specifying the number of years which are the same as the completed years of the age of the employee on his last birthday, immediately preceding the date on which the compensation fell due. So that is, by calculating the age of the worker, this relevant factor is calculated. It is given in schedule 4 and column, second column. In first column, the age, we can calculate the age of the employee, then in relation to that age, the relevant factor is given in the second column. Now, there is no distinction between an adult and a minor worker with respect to the amount of compensation. The amount of compensation received by the minor as well as the adult worker will be the same. Now, we can see from this diagram, we can clear it out that the compensation which will depend upon nature of injury, monthly wages of employee and the relevant factor. This nature of injury can be death, then it can be disablement. This disablement can be permanent or temporary, and permanent disablement can also be of permanent total disablement or permanent partial disablement, and this temporary disablement can also be temporary total disablement or temporary partial disablement. Now, next is your monthly wages of employee, then third is your relevant factor. Now, there is no distinction between adult and minor. So, the first factor is nature of injury, monthly wages of employee, and third factor is relevant factor. No, and there is no distinction between adult and a minor for the calculating the amount of compensation. Now, compensation in the case of occupational diseases. Compensation in the case of occupational diseases includes workers employed in certain types of occupations are exposed to the risk of contracting certain diseases which are peculiar and inherent to those occupations. So, these are known as occupational diseases. A worker contracting an occupational disease is deemed to have suffered an accident out of and in the course of employment. This occupational disease will be regarded as an accident arising out of and in the course of employment, and the employer is liable to pay compensation for the same, and the employer is liable to pay the compensation for this personal injury. Occupational disease have been categorized in part A, B and C of schedule 3, and the employer is liable to pay compensation when a workman contracts any disease specified in part B while in service for a continuous period of 6 months under one employer. So, if a worker contracts any disease which is specified in part B, and for this one condition is there that he should have served the continuous period of 6 months of service under one employer. When a worker contracts any disease specified in part C while he has been in continuous service for a specified period, whether under one or more employer, proportionate compensation is payable by all the employers if the workmen have been in service under more than one employer. If an employee has, after the cessation of that service, contracted any disease specified in the said part B or part C as an occupational disease peculiar to the employment, and that such disease arose out of the employment, the contracting of the disease shall be deemed to be an injury by accident and within the meaning of the act. So, if any employee contracts any disease after the cessation of that service also, that disease will be considered as injury by accident and it will be liable for compensation. Now, calculation of compensation. In case of death resulting from injury, the amount of compensation shall be equal to 50% of the monthly wages of the deceased workman multiplied by the relevant factor or an amount of rupees 1,20,000, whichever is more. So, in case of death, the amount of compensation will be equal to 50% of the monthly wages, and this monthly wages, that is 50% of this monthly wages, will be multiplied by the relevant factor, or an amount of 1,20,000, whichever is more, will be given to the dependent of the employee. Now, we can see or we can clear it out from this diagram, that is amount of compensation. Formula for calculating amount of compensation is 50% of monthly wages into relevant factor. Now, or 1,20,000, whichever is more. For example, monthly wages of an employee is rupees 3,000. His date of death is 12/3/2000. His date of birth is 14/7/1965. So by this, completed years of age on 14/7/1999, that is previous year. In previous year he completed his age is 34. So relevant factor for age 34 will be seen from the schedule 4 column 2. That is relevant factor for age 34 will came out as 199.40. So for calculating relevant factor, we should know date of death and date of birth. By this we will be able to know the age of the or completed years of age of the individual. By this we will calculate the relevant factor. By this age we are going against this age. In schedule 4 column 2 we are going to see the relevant factor given over there. For example, here the relevant factor for age 34 is given as 199.40. Now we can calculate the amount of compensation, that is 50% of monthly wages. Monthly wages is rupees 3,000 into relevant factor. Relevant factor is 199.40 or 1,20,000, whichever is more. Now by calculating this amount, 50 into 3,000 into 199.40 upon 100, it came out as 2,99,100 rupees, and it is more than 1,20,000 rupees. So this amount will be paid as compensation to the dependent of the person or of the deceased person. Now, compensation for permanent total disablement. In case of permanent total disablement resulting from the injury, the amount of compensation shall be 60% of the monthly wages of the injured workman multiplied by the relevant factor, or rupees 140,000, whichever is more. In some cases or in some books you will find that this amount is given as 1,20,000 also. So it can be 120,000, it can be 140,000 rupees, both. So the amount of wages will be the formula will be the same for calculating the amount of wages, but only instead of 50% we will write 60%. Now compensation for permanent partial disablement, this was the compensation for permanent total disablement. It was 60% into monthly wages into relevant factor divided by 100 in or 1,40,000, whichever is more, is given to the worker in case of permanent total disablement. Now in case of permanent partial disablement, where permanent partial disablement occurs, the amount of compensation payable shall be as follows. Now, in case of injury specified in part 2 of the schedule 1, the amount of compensation shall be such percentage of the compensation which would have been payable for the percentage of loss of earning capacity caused by that injury. Now, in case of an injury which is specified in part 2 of the schedule 1, the amount of compensation shall be such percentage of the compensation which would have been payable for the percentage of loss of earning capacity caused by that injury. So, percentage of loss of earning capacity is equal to your amount of percentage of compensation. Now in case of injury not specified in schedule 1, such percentage of the compensation is payable which is proportionate to the loss of earning capacity. If it is not given in schedule 1, then it will be assessed by a qualified medical practitioner and permanently caused by the earning capacity which is permanently caused by the injury. Now this loss of earning capacity, how much percentage is loss, as it is not given in part 2 of the schedule 1, it will be assessed by a qualified medical practitioner. Now we can conclude from this diagram, that is compensation for death, it is 50% of monthly wages into relevant factor or rupees 1,20,000, whichever is more. Now in case of permanent disablement, it is if permanent disablement is of total sort of kind, that is permanent total disablement. It is 60% of monthly wages into relevant factor or 1,40,000, or in some cases you can find out that it is given 1,20,000 also. So 1,20,000, whichever is more. Now, in case of partial disablement, that is permanent partial disablement, percentage of loss of earning capacity, that percentage of compensation payable in case of permanent total disablement. Now, in case of temporary disablement, it is whether it is total or partial, 20% of monthly wages payable every half month. That is 20% of monthly 25% of monthly wages is given to him and pay under every half month. Injuries which are not listed in Schedule 1, as in case of permanent total disablement, proportionate to loss of earning capacity which is assessed by qualified medical practitioner, considering list of injuries listed in Schedule 1. So, if any injury or is not listed in Part 2 of Schedule 1, then it will be assessed by the medical practitioner. He will assess the loss of earning, percentage of loss of earning capacity, and the amount of compensation will be set according to that percentage of loss of earning capacity. Now, amount of compensation. Now we will learn from this example the amount of compensation or how the calculation of compensation will be done for permanent total disablement. Now, the formula for permanent total disablement calculation is 60% of monthly wages into relevant factor divided by 100, or rupees 1,40,000 or rupees 1,20,000, whichever is more. Now, here the employee's monthly wages is rupees 3,000. His date of permanent total disablement, or you can say date of accident, is 12/3/2000. Date of birth is 14/7/1965. Now, his completed years of age on 14/7/1999 will be 34 years. Now we will again see the relevant factor which is given against the which is relevant. We will see the relevant factor which is given against the age of the worker. That is, if his age is 34, the relevant factor which is given in column 2 is 199.40. Now, the amount of compensation can be calculated as 60 into 3000 into 199.40 divided by 100. It comes out to be 3,58,920. Now, this amount of compensation, as it is bigger than 1,40,000, so this amount of compensation is more than 1,40,000. So this amount of compensation will be paid to the worker for his permanent total disablement. Now, calculation of compensation for permanent partial disablement: 60% of monthly wages into relevant factor upon 100, or for 1,40,000, whichever is more. His monthly wages is suppose 2,000, date of accident is this, date of birth is this, and by calculating his completed years of age, it comes out to be 30 years. The relevant factor for the age of 30 is 207.98. It is given out there in Schedule 4. Then amount of compensation, we can calculate 60% of monthly wages, that is 2,000 into 207.98. This is the relevant factor divided by 100. It comes out to be 1,49,746 rupees. As it is more than 1,40,000, so this amount of compensation will be given for permanent partial disablement. Now, if the temporary disablement, whether total or partial, results from the injury, the amount of compensation shall be a half monthly payment of the sum equivalent to 25% of the monthly wages of the workman, to be paid in accordance with the provisions. The half monthly payment shall be payable on the 16th day from the date of disablement. In cases where such disablement lasts for a period of 28 days or more, compensation is payable from the date of disablement. In other cases, after the expiry of a waiting period of 3 days from the date of disablement. So the sum equivalent to 25% of the monthly wages of the workman to be paid in accordance with the following provisions in case of temporary disablement, whether total or partial disablement. Now, when conditions when compensation is to be deposited with commissioner, the amount of compensation is not payable to the workman directly. Whatever will the amount of compensation is calculated, this is not directly paid to the worker. It is generally deposited along with the prescribed statement with the commissioner, who will then pay it to the workman. Any payment made to the workman or his dependent directly in the following cases will not be deemed to be payment of compensation, and in any case if the compensation is paid directly to the workman or his dependent, it will not deemed to be a payment of compensation in the following cases. First, in case of death of the employee, if you pay the compensation directly to the workman or his dependent. In case of lump sum compensation payable to a woman or a minor or a person of unsound mind or whose entitlement to the compensation is in dispute, or a person under a legal disability, if you pay that person or woman or minor or person of unsound mind or a person whose compensation is in dispute or a person under a legal disability, if you pay directly if the employee or if the employer pays the compensation directly to that dependent, then such compensation is deemed to be not deemed to be a payment of compensation. Besides, compensations of rupees 10 or more may be deposited with the commissioner on behalf of the person entitled thereto. The receipt of deposit with the commissioner shall be sufficient proof of discharge of the employer's liability. After depositing the compensation, the commissioner will give a receipt to the employer, and it will serve as a sufficient proof of discharge of the employer's liability. Now, compensation to be paid when it is due if employer not accept the compensation to the extent claimed and time limit for payment. Now, as soon as when it has to be paid, that is as soon as it falls due, liability for payment of compensation is fixed on the employer. As soon as it is to be paid, the liability for payment of compensation is fixed on the employer. Now, if employer not accept the compensation to the extent it is claimed, for example, if an employee has claimed more compensation and employer is not of the view that he should reward such large amount of compensation to the employee, then should make provisional payment to the extent he accepts. So in that case he can make a provisional payment, not to that amount which the employee has asked, but he can make some provisional payment to the extent he accepts, to the extent he can pay to the employee. And time limit for such payment is within month from the due date. Now, payment should be deposited with commissioner for employees compensation. If not commissioner, all the payments which he has to make to the employee shall be deposited with the commissioner. If not, commissioner directs the employer to pay the arrears with simple interest rate of 12% or as prevailing in the bank. If he doesn't deposit the compensation with the commissioner may direct the employer to pay the interest rate of 12% or as prevailing in the bank. Employee having right to make any further claim. Further delay 50% of the amount, or if the employee having right to make any further claim and the employer does not accept the claim, then the time further, if the employer further delays the payment, then 50% of the amount due will be recovered as penalty. This penalty, he can also be charged for penalty, and this penalty will be 50% of the amount due. Now, amount permissible to be paid to the workmen dependents directly. What amount can be paid to the workmen directly? It doesn't require to be deposited to the commissioner. Now, following amounts may be paid directly to the workman or his dependents. Now, in case of death of the workman, any advance on account of compensation up to an amount equal to 3 months' wages of such workmen may be paid to any dependent. In case of death, any advance payment can be made by the employer, and this advance payment can be an amount equal to 3 months' wages of such workman. He can pay this as the compensation to his dependent in case of death of the workman. Now, in case of lump sum compensation payable to an adult male worker not suffering from any disability, a lump sum payment can be made to an adult male worker if he is not suffering from any legal disability. Then, in case of half monthly payments payable to any workman, in case of half monthly payments, they can be paid directly to the workman. Now, registration of agreements of compensation. If there is any agreement between the employer and the employee regarding the payment of compensation, such agreement has to be registered. Now, where the amount payable as compensation has been settled by agreement, a memorandum thereof shall be sent by the employer to the commissioner, who shall, on being satisfied about its genuineness, record the memorandum in a registered manner. However, where it appears to the commissioner that the agreement ought not to be registered by reason of the inadequacy of the sum or amount, by reason that the agreement has been obtained by fraud by the employer or by undue influence or other improper means, he may refuse to record the agreement and may make such order, including an order as to any sum already paid under the agreement, as he thinks fit, just in the circumstances. An agreement for payment of compensation which has been registered shall be enforceable under this Act, with notwithstanding anything contained in the Indian Contract Act or any other law for the time being in force. So, the employer has to make it clear to the commissioner that this agreement has been reached without any fraud or undue influence, otherwise he will be charged with more penalties. Now, review of half monthly payment. Half monthly payment will be by commissioner on application by employer or by employee. Application must be accompanied by certificate of qualified medical practitioner that there has been change in condition of employee. On review, the half monthly payment may be continued, increased, decreased, ended or converted into a lump sum amount. Now, there is various rules regarding this. Is you can say this is the summary regarding various rules regarding distribution of compensation. For example, compensation for death and rules if employee not makes payment to the dependents. Now, compensation for death, payment of lump sum compensation due to an employee person under legal disability. Deposit with commissioner. If employees make direct payment to dependents, it is not valid. He has to deposit the amount to the commissioner. Now, deceased employee, death of employee. Employer may make advances payment directly to dependent, and how much he can pay, we have just learned that amount equal to 3 months wages of employee. Now, adult male worker, if he is totally, partially or disabled, employer may either pay compensation not less than ₹10 to employee or deposit it with commissioner. Now, compensation amount deposited with commissioner relieves the employer from his liability to pay compensation or discharge the employer from his liability to pay compensation. Then, commissioner cause notice to be published, served on dependent to appear before him for determining the distribution of compensation. If commissioner causes any notice to be published or served on dependent, the dependent has to appear before him for determining the distribution of compensation. If commissioner is satisfied that no dependent exists, repay the balance to the employer. If there is no dependent to whom the compensation can be paid, the commissioner can repay the balance to the employer. Now, effect of failure to register agreement. When a memorandum of an agreement is not sent to the commissioner for registration, the employer shall be liable to pay the full amount of compensation which he is liable to pay under the provision of the Act. if there is if when a memorandum of agreement has to be sent to the commissioner, and if the employer fails to send such a memorandum, the commissioner for the employer shall be liable to pay the full amount of compensation which is liable to pay under the provision of the act. Now, workmen to the commissioner may file the claim for accident compensation in the prescribed form within 2 years from the occurrence of the accident or from the date of death. The claim must be preceded by notice of accident. The claimant employee must present himself for medical examination if so required by the employer. Attachment and assignment of compensation. No compensation payable under this act, whether in lump sum or half monthly payment, can be attached, charged or passed on to any person other than workmen by operation of law, nor can it be set off against any other claim. Now, till 6th we have done these rules. Now coming to the next rule, rules regarding distribution of compensation. If applied by employer, this compensation is applied by employer, commissioner shall furnish compensation disbursement statement. Now, apportionment of compensation by commissioner. Now, among dependents or distribution among dependents or any one of them in such proportion as he thinks fit, that is, commissioner can distribute the compensation in such proportion as he thinks fit among the dependents of the worker. Commissioner may at his discretion allot compensation to any one dependent. He can distribute among dependents or he can allot compensation to any one dependent. Now, to whom compensation is payable, or who is the person who is entitled. Lump sum deposited with commissioner payable to women or person under legal disability may be invested, applied or otherwise dealt with or for benefit of women or person under legal disability as commissioner directed. If half monthly payment payable to person under legal disability, commissioner may pay to dependent or any other person whom the commissioner thinks best fitted to provide for the welfare of the employee. Now, neglect of children by parent, variation of circumstances of any dependent, other sufficient cause, commissioner may vary earlier orders regarding distribution, investment of compensation. Now, if commissioner vary orders as in point 12 by reason of the fact that payment of compensation obtained by fraud or impersonation or other improper means, it may be recovered as area of land revenue. Now, coming to the duties of employer. To pay compensation for an accident suffered by an employee in accordance with the act, the employer has to submit a statement to the commissioner within 30 days of receiving the notice in the prescribed form, giving the circumstances attending the death of a workman as a result of an accident and indicating whether he is liable to deposit any compensation for the same. To submit accident report to the commissioner in the prescribed form within 7 days of the accident which results in death of a workman or a serious bodily injury to a workman. To maintain a notice book in the prescribed form at a place where it is readily accessible to the workman. To submit an annual return of accident specifying the number of injuries for which compensation has been paid during the year, the amount of such compensation and other prescribed particulars. These are the duties of the employer, that is, he has to submit a statement to the commissioner within 30 days of receiving the notice in his prescribed form, giving the circumstances attending the death of a workman as a result of an accident. To submit accident report to the commissioner in the prescribed form within 7 days of the accident. He has to maintain a notice book in the prescribed form at a place where it is readily accessible to the workman. He has to submit an annual return of accidents specifying the number of injuries for which compensation has been paid during the year and the amount of such compensation and other prescribed particulars. Now, duties of employees. What are the duties of employees? He has to send a notice of the accident in the prescribed form to the commissioner and the employer within such time as soon as it is practicable for him. The notice is precondition for the admission of the claim for compensation, to present himself for medical examination if required by the employer. So for gaining the amount of compensation, or for claiming the amount of compensation, he has to send notice of the accident in the prescribed form to the commissioner and the employer, and he has to make himself present for medical examination if it is required by the employer. So this was all about the amount of compensation, how it is calculated for various types of disabilities, as well disablement you can say, and in case of death, and how much amount it is going to be paid to the dependent and the employee who has suffered such disablement. Thank you class. I think this is clear to all of you.